YouTube. Welcome to Zio Peppe. Will it just be you dining in today?
Hello.
Hi, waiting for one more?
Oh, hey, Ron, you're here.
Oh, no. It's me, YouTube, and the owner.
Hello, YouTube. Thanks for coming in. We're located at 6520 East Tanque Verde Road. I hope you guys enjoy the food.
All right, so guys, we're here at Zio Peppe in Tucson, Arizona. Before the owner introduces themselves, can you introduce what we have here?
Yeah, so Laurent, what you got there is El Viejito, which is our take on an old-fashioned. It's a cocktail that's based on bourbon, and we add amaretto to it, little bitters, and we barrel age it in-house ourselves. And then next to that, you've got the Last Monsoon, which is a drink that our bartender Alfredo Aguilar came up with for the Tucson City of Gastronomy cocktail competition this past fall. And it was the Tucson City of Gastronomy Cocktail of the Year.
Oh, okay.
And it's a base of reposado tequila, and it's got the pomegranate shrub and some red wine vinegar and fall warming spices, and a little spritz of creosote tincture and orange blossom water. So you get these great aromatics, and you take in the scent of the Last Monsoon, the time it was created, to the very last of the rains, and you get the smell of the desert rain in the air from the creosote spritz.
Okay. And it's gorgeous. It's very gorgeous. You said this is barrel aged. How long is it barrel aged?
So the optimum window, we like to have it for 12 weeks in the barrel there, and so we do, as soon as we finish one batch, we'll get the next one in and bottle it up.
Okay, sounds good. And this one's your favorite, you said?
That's my favorite.
Okay.
I'm an American brown spirits kind of guy, but at the risk of throwing out my shoulder, patting myself on the back, I'm happy with all of our cocktails.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna take a sip of this. Okay. Oh, it's really smooth.
Yeah.
It's super smooth. And you taste that amaretto.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as strong as I thought it would be. I really like that. Okay. So introduce yourself. Like, who are you? Are you originally from Tucson?
I'm Chef Devin Sanner, chef and co-owner of Zio Peppe. I am from Tucson, Arizona, born and raised here, actually just a couple miles from where we are right now, this location. And have done my stints elsewhere for schooling and a little bit of cooking elsewhere as well, but Tucson is home to me.
Okay. Now, before we get into Zio Peppe, let's get into you as a person. So growing up, what flavors and what people inspired you for your food? Like, how did you become a foodie?
So I was encouraged from a very young age to have an adventurous palate, because my parents would take my brother and me we started out in a lot of Chinese restaurants that had no problem with toddlers running around and just being a little crazy, and they just give us a couple of fortune cookies. So picking up that flavor profile, and my dad would take us out to El Dorado down on South 4th Avenue, and so chips and salsa were mother's milk to me from a very young age, and growing up with all the flavors here, and then whether it was in high school and Cisco's Nana making tamales for us for after wrestling weigh-ins and throwing down on that, the flavors of Tucson have always spoken to me. But I embrace everything, and so having had the opportunity to do some traveling and taste something a little farther afield, and having escargot or terrine of rabbit or whatnot, I've always embraced what else is out there, and learning how other people eat and how other people cook is just never-ending source of passion for me.
Okay. Now, as a chef, your favorite chef growing up, and which chef would you want to battle? Past, present, they can be alive, they can be dead. Which chef would you love to battle?
Wow. So recently passed Chef Chen Kenichi, who is the Iron Chef Chinese on the original run of Iron Chef. I just have always thought that he was the baddest badass on there, because he was so humble. I mean, the guy could flute mushrooms with the Chinese chef cleaver, fantastic skills, but super humble, just let the food speak for itself and dominate the competition. So sad to see his passing just this past month. In terms of inspiration chefs when I was growing up, I didn't, as a kid growing up, I didn't know that I had a calling for doing this as a profession. I was a career changer, and figuring out what I wanted to be. So I was 8 years old. I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. That's what Jack Copeland was doing, doing artificial heart transplants here at the University Medical Center. And then by the time I was in high school and studying some constitutional law and taking AP government classes, I was going to be a Supreme Court justice. And then by the time I got to college, I got thrown into Slavic languages and literatures. I was going to go the professorial route. And then defected into a PhD program in language education, and doing a lot of work on critical literacy and social justice education, and decided I need to be a practitioner out in the field and gain that experience, and did a stint in Teach for America. And then it was after that, the super old age for a starting line cook at age 31, I decided I needed to pursue this as a passion project, because I always loved cooking for friends and hosting parties and tasting everything and just experiencing the world's cuisine. But I hadn't really given it a ton of thought as a profession until here I was having sort of an existential crisis at age 31 and deciding that this is what I wanted to throw myself headlong into. And so after doing 4 years of undergrad and 7 years of grad school without taking out a dime, decided it would be a brilliant idea to throw $40,000 at a culinary education. But it broke well, and I had the opportunity to then, right after culinary school, go to work for Janos Wilder, who's the godfather OG of Southwestern cuisine, who really is one of the foundational forces putting Tucson on a global culinary map. And I spent close to 15 years working with Janos Wilder and had the opportunity from that to then go work in other kitchens as well. Janos gave me the time and opportunity to do things like working as a chef d'honneur at the American Pavilion at the Cannes Film Festival, to do a stage at Momofuku in New York City, and at True and Alinea in Chicago, and just learning from other phenomenal chefs and getting that inspiration of seeing what's the bleeding edge of what other folks are doing out there elsewhere in the country. And so I've just always embraced that learning and picking from other smartest minds in the room, and I hope that never ends.
So out of all those people you work with, like, who really, honed your skills, or who really, like, what was the best experience out of all those people that you worked with? Like, which one do you, it holds a special place in your heart? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it definitely picked up different things from different folks. In terms of the most foundational and really giving me the base, Janos Wilder, unquestionably. I spent 15 years with him, and he really set the stage for my appreciation of Tucson cuisine, and the fact that before he opened his restaurant here in 1983, he was advertising for farmers and gardeners before he was advertising for line cooks, because he wanted to be able to source good foods locally and get beyond just the beans and chilies and whatnot that are part and parcel of the region, but find out what else was available out there. And so he really laid the groundwork for that in my perspective. But from other places, I learned just a lot of culinary playfulness when I was staging at the Momofuku kitchen, and how to be inventive with cuisine and a little bit cheeky. From my time at Alinea, it was a kitchen with tremendous passion, not a ton of joy, but a tremendous passion, and these whip it thin young line cooks who are just grinding these super long days and creating this mind-blowing food that, as you're in the kitchen and working cheek to jowl with these folks, 25 cooks in a kitchen preparing dinner for 65 people, and it's insane. Just the level is so high, the bar, perfection, and so it gives a really different perspective when then at the end of a stage you go and you're sat down in Chef White's at a table, and the meal comes to you in waves, and it's 20 plus courses for this degustation menu with different pairings, and it's just mind-blowing, the level of creativity and the experience as a guest, that it's so fanciful but then executed with technical perfection, and it really is an unparalleled experience. Probably the most fun though was doing a stage at True with Chef Tim Graham, and I got to work there at a time when Chef Laurent Gras, who's one of the pound for pound best cooks in the world, was testing out recipes for his next concept, L2O, which was instantly a Michelin 3-star restaurant. I was working with some baller line cooks, some great chefs, and it was a very cohesive kitchen as well. Some kitchens are very combative, others there's a genuine esprit de corps, and people love working where they work, challenging themselves to get consistently better and put out top level food. And so that was a phenomenal stage experience for me.
So it sounds like you've been in the game for a long time. How long have you been in the cooking world?
Well, let's see. It'll be this will mark coming up on, this is 19 years since I defected from my background in education and threw myself into culinary school and got into the game. So I've been doing it for a minute. Okay. 19 years.
So what keeps you from that burnout? Like what motivates you? What drives you? What makes you smile? What keeps you happy in this game?
Well, part of what I love is something that I think is maybe anathema to the industry as a whole, but definitely part of the Tucson food scene, is the camaraderie and collegiality of our chefs. And we really are well connected with one another and love working together and sharing ideas and being the rising tide for each other, lifting all the ships. And the way that we collaborate and come together and do things like forming the Gastronomic Union of Tucson, where we started out after Tucson got a designation from UNESCO, being a city of gastronomy. We decided that we wanted to share our, do some professional exchange, and we get together and play around in the kitchen, doing things we don't get to do in our restaurant in our daily lives. So, had Master Butcher Ben Forbes come in, and we'd be table breaking a whole hog or an elk that somebody bagged up in northern Arizona, and so learning those skills that we don't get to do on the daily. And then doing fermentation practica, where we're making kimchi and fermented hot sauces and learning about that from one another. And then at a certain point, we decided, well, we need to take this public and band together and show Tucson public what is phenomenal about Tucson cuisine, and started doing a series of dinners in the summers and doing other events, festivals. And the way that we all love to work together and share knowledge and inspire one another, that's what sustains me most, is seeing how far above our weight we punch as a city, as a gastronomic city. We're in a class that's far above where one would expect for a city our size. So I can't say enough about the phenomenal folks that I work with in this culinary industry in Tucson.
Okay. All right, so let's finally get to Zio Peppe. So Zio Peppe, your first restaurant, and how long has it been here?
So this is the first restaurant that I've had an ownership role, and we are just about to mark our 2-year anniversary of opening the dining room. We opened up a brilliant stroke of genius to open a restaurant during a pandemic with restrictions still in place, and we decided we'd make something bulletproof and be takeout and delivery heavy, and so opened in May of 2021. And then we're just waiting on guests, and everybody wanted to dine in. So I guess we better open the dining room. So June 1st of this year will mark the second anniversary, and we'll be transitioning to full table service. We start out with counter service, and we are evolving as a restaurant, and we want to give the best service available, with knowledgeable staff, and really make for a wow experience when people come in. And so we're catching up. I think we've been doing that consistently with the food, and now it's time to elevate the game in service as well.
Okay. Well, when I visited here my first time, the service was amazing. Your staff is amazing, really friendly, really nice, and the food. Guys, you got to come. The food speaks for itself. So it's amazing. It's the best food I've had in Tucson, hands down.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that. It is with the atmosphere and everything. I really love it. So as a restaurant owner and just being in the cooking world, what's the hardest thing you've had to face?
Hardest thing. So there are always the slings and arrows of product supply chains and not being able to source the right thing at the right time, and staffing and fluxes, and you schedule 20 interviews and you get 19 no-shows.
And sounds like you're a part-time juggler as well.
There's a lot of plates spinning at all time, but I think that the hard thing that most chefs will tell you, chefs that have families and whatnot is the amount that those families have to sacrifice to support a chef's life. So it's a hard road to hoe with the startup restaurant, and you throw yourself headlong into a passion project, and really, you eat, breathe, dream, sleep. Everything is, you're putting your heart and your soul, your creativity into this, and trying to make sure that it's all successful, because it's not just, it's not my ego and a disappointed guest on the line, but I've got employees who count on this job. I've got, a network of people behind me, people supporting me who are looking to, make sure that this is a success. Mm-hmm. And so there's the burden on the family, and the burden on the responsibility for other people's livelihood. And I think those are the challenges that have to keep perspective.
Okay. All right. So what's the most, since you've had this restaurant, what's the most, like the best experience you had with, like, it really touched your heart?
Gosh, there are so many little things of just, anytime that I get to interact with guests, I'm dropping food at the table, and I get comments from guests about the joy they experience from the food, from friendly servers, and that it's something truly unique. They would seek out and recommend to friends. That, just on the daily, is heartwarming to me. I like creating dishes that resonate with people and providing an atmosphere where people are comfortable and they can be wowed by flavor combinations that they've never had before. They gain a totally different appreciation, a sense of something different with food. Yeah. Taking familiar ingredients and presenting them in a way that's not familiar to them, but is comforting, can sort of stretch the rubber band of the imagination and accommodate a little bit more. And it's those daily things. It's not a singular moment, I wouldn't say. It's just all of the little pieces that stack up that make it really rewarding and gratifying for me.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so let me, your top favorite things on the menu, and then the top sellers on the menu. What are those for Zio Peppe?
So my personal favorites here for appetizers, I'm going to go also along with the public sentiment of the elote arancini. That's something, if it ever comes off menu, the torches and pitchforks will come out, riots in the streets.
I might burn this place down, because it was amazing. Yeah. I've never had something like that. I'm a country boy, so I grew up with fried chicken and stuff like that. So that fried breading, but then you bite into it in those flavors, it's special.
Yeah, it's a perfect little marriage of Sicilian street food and Sonoran street food, and it just works.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing. If you guys come here, try the elote. It's I can't even speak. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is Best of Tucson award winner for best elote. So there you go. My daughter is partial to the wolf and shrimp linguine, which is a solid dish. My favorite pasta, at the current moment, you ask me on any given day, you may get a different answer, but I'm rather partial to the green chili garganelli bolognese, which is a big mouthful, both literally and figuratively. But we incorporate green chili powder into the making of the pasta, make the pasta ourselves. Braised beef short ribs, make a rich bolognese sauce from the jus from cooking off the short ribs, and tomatoes and mirepoix, and then the way that it comes together and finishes with a salsa verde and freshly shaved pecorino cheese on top. It's just an insane flavor bomb. Okay. So those are solid favorites for me. Pizza wise, my two beloveds are the El Rustico Birria pizza, which is a collaboration with our dear friend and fellow gut chef Juan Jose Almanza, as El Rustico down on Grant and Oracle. Oh yeah. Okay. And the Figgy Stardust, which has been on since the start of the restaurant, and figs and house pulled mozzarella and honey and chamomile goat cheese and a drizzle of pomegranate and house mesquite smoked bacon. It's just, some unusual flavors, but they all just pop and harmonize, and I love them.
Okay. Yeah, that I tried the figgy pizza. It's amazing. Just the marriage of the flavors. You taste that saltiness from that bacon and that sweet of the honey. It's amazing. What inspired you? What created this menu? Like, how did you come about with this menu?
So this is, like everything here at Zio Peppe, is a result of collaborations. And so my partner Matt Cable and I had come together through what became the Gastronomic Union of Tucson. And we've got daughters the same age and take them out on play dates together and whatnot. Knew that we wanted to do a project together. And so when the opportunity to do this came along, we thought, well, let's just draw from what are the biggest weapons in each of our respective arsenals. So having spent the previous 15 years cooking largely Nouvelle Southwestern cuisine with Janos Wilder and doing global cuisine as well. And then Matt, having grown up in the restaurant industry, and specifically in the Italian restaurant industry, we figured this was the perfect way to harmonize. So Zio Peppe is Italian for Uncle Joe, and it's the namesake of the restaurant is Matt's literal Uncle Joe, Joe Sodasanti, who started the first Sicilian pizza joint in Tucson in 1971. Tessio's Pizzeria, just a couple miles from where we are right now. And although we don't do Sicilian pizza, there's the family history and the rootedness of Tucson in everything that we do. Matt's a local Tucson kid, born and raised here as well, and we figured this would be our opportunity for a love letter to Tucson in culinary form. So taking the best of Italian and Italian-American classics and pizzas and pastas and risottos and infusing it all with the technique, ingredients, and flavors of this region, of the Sonoran region. So that's how we arrive at dishes like the ravioli sonorense. So instead of having a fennel sausage crumbled on top, it's house-made beef chorizo in that, and coming up with a rotini alla tequila instead of the standard penne alla vodka. And so it's just the perfect marriage of Matt's strengths and my strengths, and all of the menu items bouncing back and forth, and we'll involve our sous chef and our cooks and hammer these things out and like, what do we do to make this better? This is a great idea, and then it's just bouncing back and forth, and so all the things here that achieve greatness, the result of collaboration, working together, and I can't speak highly enough about my partner, my team. Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned, because one of my next questions was the name of Zio Peppe. How did, but you've answered that, so perfect. So Zio Peppe, what's the future look like for, the restaurant and just, you in Tucson? You mentioned the competition you guys had. So what's the future look like for you with the restaurant?
Yeah, so we just entered the Meet the Chefs competition in anticipation of Iron Chef Tucson, and it's a contest that's held at the Casino del Sol and sponsored by Lotus Corp Media, and they get together some of the top chefs in Tucson to square off in an event for the public, and it's judged by professional chefs. And we put together a dish of a girasole pasta, a stuffed pasta in the shape of a sunflower, and we put in there. We cooked up some beef birria and folded in some shrimp and some ricotta cheese with chile colorado. Served on a bed of a spicy black bean coulis, piquillo pepper puree, a lime crema, mint pea and basil sauce, and topped it with a house-made Sonoran chili crisp. And lo and behold, the judges loved it, and so I will be competing against Chef Ken Foy for Iron Chef Tucson in July. So that's on the immediate event horizon, and we're hoping that that draws a lot of attention for us and keeps the seats full through summer here. And I think we're looking at really growing internally and doing outstanding service and continuing to push the creativity forward, developing new dishes constantly, and always reevaluating the menu. Like, what can we do to make this even better? We've got a menu with which, again, the risk of patting myself on the back, something that I'm really proud of, but there's always evolution to be done. And so we're pushing forward with that and getting further involved with all of the initiatives of Tucson as a city of gastronomy. So I was just this past year inducted into the inaugural class of Chef Ambassadors. The Tucson City of Gastronomy board that manages the designation for us started a program to be able to get chefs in the community to do public engagement and instruction and interaction with public here in Tucson, Pima County, but also sending chef delegations abroad to other cities of gastronomy for festivals that they have. And so I'm part of that inaugural class. I'm looking at spreading the gospel of Tucson cuisine and spreading the gospel of Zio Peppe to places far and wide.
Okay, sounds good. Now, do you see expansion as far as a different location or a second Zio Peppe?
So yeah. No, we are looking at opportunities, but at the same time, we don't want to be in a rush to overexpand before we're ready, and we want to make sure that we have things rock solid in the mothership here before next steps and looking at that sort of expansion.
The reason I'm asking, because when you guys come here, because you guys will be coming here, you'll notice it's a small parking lot. So, you know, there's going to be a line out the door, but you might have to park over there somewhere because it's, yeah, so, but.
It's cozy.
Yeah, it's cozy. But you guys definitely got to come here. It's an amazing, amazing place. The atmosphere is great. The staff is great. The food speaks for itself. So to close this out, what do you want to like really tell, not just, you know, foodies, but just people in general, just people trying to chase their dreams, or just people in general? What do you want to tell YouTube?
So YouTube, yeah, don't be afraid to change paths. And if you are, you know, I think Kurt Vonnegut was saying that the most interesting people he knows don't figure out what they want to be until they're at least 50. So in my case, you know, having been through several false starts and then finding something that I'm truly passionate about and want to throw myself into, don't be afraid to take that leap. Just invest yourself and find something that connects you to who you are and connects you with other people. And that's what I found here, the Tucson culinary scene and the Zio Peppe. It's resonating with people, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Look, I'm gonna take a little drinky drink there. I like that. Oh, this is amazing.
Right?
I love how sweet this is. Oh, but you heard that, guys. Success is not overnight. You're gonna fail a lot. Like he said, he had many different things that he's done. So you're gonna fail, but failure is it just means next. What can you do next? And it just means to grind harder, stay consistent, because that's what it's all about. It's consistency, finding what you love, finding that passion, and just go, just chase it. This man said he bleeds this place. He dreams about this place. You know, he's obsessive about this place, and that's how you got to be with your dreams and your passions. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this man for letting us come through and making us feel at home. But definitely join us on the next one with the food, because we're about to get into this thing. Anything you want to say going out?
Oh, well, thank you, Laurent. Thank you, all of you out in YouTube land. Appreciate you all.
We out. Well, we out. Look.